Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayesha Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we will continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 3, Text 9, where Uddhav is remembering the pastimes of the Lord outside Vrindavan. Tasva apatyani ajnayad atma tulyani sarvataha eke ashyam dasha dasha prakritir vibhu bhushaya. Just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own qualities. So in each of the 16,108 wives, Krishna got 10 sons, and all of them had exactly his own qualities. So these are all his expansions, Krishna's expansions. Text 10. Kala Magda Shalvadin Anikai Rundhata Puram Ajiganat Swayam Divyam Swapumsam Teja Adisat. Kalayavana, the king of Magad and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura, but when the city was encircled by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own men. After the death of Kamsa, when Mathura was encircled by soldiers of Kalyavana, Jarasan, and Salva, the Lord seemingly fled from the city, and thus he is known as Ranchor, or one who fled from fighting. Actually, the fact was that the Lord wanted to kill them through the agency of his own men, devotees like Muchukunda and Bhima. Kalayavana and the king of Magda were killed by Muchukunda and Bhima respectively, who acted as agents of the Lord. So when Kalyavan had come to attack the city of Mathura, Krishna fled from there. And then he was running, and Kalyavan kept on running behind him and was calling him names that, oh, you cowherd, you are a coward, you're running away, stay and fight with me. But Krishna was not listening to him. He just kept on running. And then he seemingly entered a cave. Kalyavan thought Krishna has entered in a cave, and then when Kalyavan entered the cave, he saw somebody lying down, and he thought it's Krishna. So he started, like trying to wake him up, shake him up. And the one who was sleeping was actually Muchukunda. Muchukunda was a king. He was a devotee of the Lord, and he had helped the demigods in fighting. And so after fighting for long, long years, then the demigods won. And then the demigods asked him, okay, what do you want? So Muchukunda said, I'm very tired now. I've been fighting for y'all for so many years. Now I want to sleep. Okay, so don't you want another boon? I mean, we can give you something else, you're just asking to go to sleep. He said, yeah, okay, give me a boon that whoever wakes me up will burn. Because otherwise you guys are all coming every time and asking me to help you to fight. So, but I want to really take rest now. So just give me a boon that whoever wakes me up is gonna be burned. So they said, okay. And of course, Krishna was aware of this boon. And so he did both the things. One, he needed to wake up Muchukanda, and Kalyavan also was killed. So as soon as Muchukunda woke up and he saw Kalyavan just burst into flames. And of course, Jarasan was killed by Bhim. Later on, Bhim, Arjun, and Krishna, they go to Jarasan in the guise of Brahmanas. And then they asked for charity, and Jarasan said, what do you want? So they said, we want to fight with you. And then Jarasan chose Bhim, and Krishna helped him how to kill Jarasan. Because he was, when he was born in two pieces. And the demon Jara, she put these two pieces together and it became one baby. That's why he was called Jarasan. So when he was to be killed, Krishna told Bhim, like, you bifurcate him like that, down through the middle. And that's how Jarasan was killed. So by such acts, the Lord wanted to exhibit the prowess of his devotees, as if he were personally unable to fight, but his devotees could kill them. The relationship of the Lord with his devotees is a very happy one. Actually, the Lord descended at the request of Brahma in order to kill all the undesirables of the world, but to divide the share of glory. He sometimes engaged his devotees to take credit. So Krishna is always wanting to give credit to his devotees. Some of us, we want to just take the credit for ourselves. Even for something other people do, we like to take credit. Oh, it is because of me. Or even if it is really that we did something, we really like to show off, We might go around telling people, oh, it is because of me. Or even if we don't tell people, we feel proud in ourselves. Oh, see, I did it, I'm so great. But here Krishna, although he's the greatest, he can do anything, but he wants to give the glory to his devotees. The battle of Kurukshetra was designed by the Lord himself, but just to give credit to his devotee Arjuna, Nimitta Matram Bhava Savya Sachin, he played the part of a charioteer, while Arjuna was given the chance to play the fighter, and thus become the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra. What he wants to do himself by his transcendental plans, he executes through his confidential devotees. That is the way of the Lord's mercy towards his pure, unalloyed devotees. So Krishna likes to give credit to his devotees. Like, for example, one time Prabhupada said that Lord Chaitanya, he could have very well spread the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra all over the world. Lord Chaitanya spread it only in India, but not outside India. But he could have done it very well himself, he could have done it. But Srila Prabhupada said, because Lord Chaitanya is very merciful and he wants to give the credit to his devotees, that's why he left that work for Srila Prabhupada to do it, and that Srila Prabhupada spread the world, the holy name all over the world. And we can see that's what has happened now. So any questions or comments or anything to add? If anybody
No.
So text 11. Shambaram vividam banam muram balvalam evacha anyamscha dandavakradin avadit kamscha gattayat ghatayat. Of kings like Shambara, Vivida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons such as Dandvakar, some he killed himself, and some he caused to be killed by others, Sri Baladev, etc. So these are some of the demoniac kings that he killed. Athate Bhratar Putranam Pakshayo Patitan Nripan Chachala Buhu Kurukshetram Yesham Apatatam Balehe. Then, O Vidur, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war field. Actually, the earth had become too overburdened by all these kings, demoniac kings. And so that's the reason she had gone to Brahma, that it's so unbearable for me. And so Krishna collected all these kings at one time and let them be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. So text 13. Sakarna Dushashan Shobalanam Kumantra Pakena Hatashri Yayusham Suyodanam Shanucharam Shayanam Bhagnorum Urvayam Nananda Pashyan. Duryodhan was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushasan, and Sobala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. The fall of Duryodhan, the leading son of Dhritarashtra, was not pleasing to the Lord, although he was on the side of Arjuna, and it was he who advised Bhima how to break the thighs of Duryodhan while the fighting was going on. The Lord is constrained to award punishment upon the wrongdoer, but he's not happy to award such punishments because the living entities are originally his parts and parcels. So, like for example, when we wanted, as parents, when we want to discipline our children because they are being too naughty, we know that if they do it, then it's not going to be good for them. So we might discipline them, we might show that we are angry at them or something, but we are not happy to do it. It doesn't mean we don't love them. It's just because of our love for them, we want to discipline them. So similarly, Krishna, he loves everyone, each and everyone. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love the demons or he's not in the heart of the demons. No, he is there. He's there in everyone's heart. He just needs to correct sometimes some of our behavior. That's all. He's harder than the thunderbolt for the wrongdoer and softer than the rose for the faithful. The wrongdoer is misled by bad associates and by ill advice, which is against the established principles of the Lord's order, and thus he becomes subject to punishment. The surest path to happiness is to live by the principles laid down by the Lord and not disobey his established laws, which are enacted in the Vedas and the Puranas for the forgetful living entities. So if we want to be happy, we want to be peaceful, we should follow the regulative principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. So at least when the sinful activities are stopped, what happens is, because we will get the reaction of those, nothing's going to happen to Krishna. He has laid down this principle so that we don't suffer. It's for our benefit. So that we don't become hard-hearted, we don't become cheaters, we don't become unclean. you know, it's because of our benefit. We can still have, we can be compassionate so that we can have good qualities. He has told us, okay, don't do these things. Text 14. Kiyan bhuvoyam shapito rubharo yadrona bhishmarjuna bhima mulehe ashtadasha shaunihiko mad amsher aste balam durvishaham yadunam. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshaunis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhim. But what is this? There is still the strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. It is a wrong theory. So this is that Krishna's thinking now how to take the Yadu dynasty back home. It is a wrong theory that due to an increase in population, the world becomes overburdened and therefore there are wars and other annihilating processes. The earth is never overburdened. The heaviest mountains and the oceans on the face of the earth hold more living entities than there are human beings, and they are not overburdened. If a consensus were taken of all the living beings on the surface of the earth, certainly it would be found that the number of humans is not even 5% of the total number of living beings. So we know of the 8,400,000 species of life, only 400,000 species are human beings. And of those, how many of them are on this earth, or how many are on different planets, you know? So the percentage wise, the population of human being is not much compared to all the other living entities. So it's not that, oh, because there are so many people that is a problem. If the birth rate of human beings is increasing, then the birth rate of other living beings is increasing proportionately. The birth rate of lower animals, beasts, aquatics, birds, etc. is far greater than that of human beings. There is an adequate arrangement for food for all the living beings all over the earth by the order of the Supreme Lord. And he can arrange more and more if there is actually a disproportionate increase of living beings. So Krishna can provide for each of us, even if the population increases. The famine and all that is not because there is not enough food. The shortages is not that because there's not enough. Now, the reason why there is not enough food, let's hear, is not that, oh, because there are so many people or so many animals, there's not enough food. No, Krishna is a kind father. He is maintaining each and every one of us. He's not saying, oh, I will maintain only 50% of the population. Now population is too much, so I do not have the capacity to support you anymore. No, he's unlimited. Therefore, there is no question of an increase in population causing a burden. The earth became overburdened due to dharma glani, or irregular discharge of the Lord's desire. The Lord appears on the earth to curb the increase in miscreants and not the increase in population, as is wrongly put forward by the mundane economist. So Krishna came to the earth not saying, oh, that there's too many people, and so let me have the war of Kurukshetra and kill the people. No, it's just that the people had become demoniac. They were performing too much atrocious activities on other living beings. And that's when the Mother Earth becomes overburdened. When Lord Krishna appears.
Sorry, what is Dharma Gyani?
Going against the religious principles. Yeah.
So demonic.
Demoniac.
Okay, demonic.
Yeah.
And do you know how, like, many times we hear, no, like we tell, like, we've heard, even I've heard also from people tell me that, oh, you must be God fearing. And if you if you are not God-fearing, you are doing bad activities, God will punish you. Is it right to say that?
Actually, we should be God loving instead of God.
That's what, like, how they say, no, you must be God-fearing, and if you do wrong, God will punish you.
Yeah.
So,
Because
is
we
it?
don't understand God, they have like it's of also some other religions also they show that, oh, if you don't follow this, then you're gonna be burnt in hell.
Yeah,
They try
yeah.
to make God look like that, but God is not like that.
He's in fact ever merciful, right?
Yes, yes, he's all loving. It's because we don't know him, so we project our things on him. But if we actually know God, as you just said, he's all merciful, all loving. He's always maintaining us, always wanting us to go back to him. He's with us in our hearts. So much he loves us. So we should be God loving instead of God fearing.
Or maybe it's told because, like, to avoid doing wrong things.
Yeah.
That's why they
Yeah.
say,
So
like,
yeah, but it's a lower principle actually, because there is some religions also they say that, oh, you will be punished by God, and but then it doesn't stop the people from doing wrong activities, does it? Although people say yes, you should be God fearing and not do the wrong things, but they don't even know what are the wrong things. So they're continuing. There's so much meat eating still going on. Animals are being so much tortured and so badly treated. So where are they being God fearing then, right? And how we are behaving with each other, then how we are being God fearing? That is just they don't understand, and so just for the heck of saying things. But where is the actual result of it, of what you're speaking? Yeah. So we should try to understand more and more about Krishna, try to hear more and more about Krishna, so we can try to love him, be in
love him.
a
Yeah.
loving relationship with him, be in
True.
yeah, because he loves us. He's just waiting for us to reciprocate with him. Yeah. That's just a fear that some people put in other people's minds.
Like, they put that fear in you.
Yeah, that's a fear. But then actually, do we follow that? It's a fear, but are we actually being fearful of it? You know what I mean? Does it actually change our activities? Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Like as like, when you tell the children, then maybe it does, no? Like they still start thinking, oh, I cannot do this. Then, I'll be punished. But
But that might not go on for very long. Because we are rebels. After all, that's the reason we are here in the material world. We are rebels. We want to do whatever God does not want us to do. That's why we are here. So by just saying that don't do those things, it
so I
doesn't.
think it's not a right,
Yeah,
approach, no?
yeah, it's not a right approach at all. No, because love is stronger than
True.
fear. Love is the strongest emotion than fear. You see, that's why a mother, if because of her love for a child, she just will do anything, because the motivation is love. But when the motivation is fear, we might not give it that within our hearts. Yeah. So to speak to the children, we should try to tell them Krishna, that God is
Krishna
so
is your superstar. Yeah.
superstar. Yeah, he's so merciful. He's so loving. He loves the animals. He loves the cows, the peacocks. He doesn't like anyone to suffer. Doesn't like it. And so when we bring that loving aspect, then automatically, he'll feel pain. You know, the animals are feeling pain. Then automatically there is that compassion, which is, what do you say? That the mood of compassion is there in the heart, which is increased, you know.
Mm.
Then we don't want to do it.
So yeah, important that, you know, fact that we should not put that fear.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I think the fear is put for the demigods. For the Krishna, there has been no fear. Like the fear that we put is for the demigods कि आप ये चौथ की पूजा नहीं करोगे तो ऐसा हो जाएगा, because the stories have been telling us that for the demigods. Like when we do a chauth and when we hear the stories, when we read the stories of those festivals, then it is written कि अगर आपने ऐसा नहीं किया तो वो आपको punish करेंगे. But for Krishna, I have never heard that. Like, but
I've
for the
heard as a
demigods,
child,
okay.
as a kid, I've heard this.
For the Krishna? For the Krishna?
Yeah, for God. Yeah, God in general. Like, you know how they say, you must be God-fearing. You must not, you know, yeah.
Because
so
I've
that's
heard about like Karwa Chauth and all, because the stories like that only.
stories, yeah, like how Satnarayan and all that.
For the demigod, for the demigods, but never for
This,
Krishna
like, you
or
know,
Ram.
this thing,
I've never heard for
God-fearing.
Ram and Krishna. Yeah, yeah. God fearing is a. So
Yeah,
actually,
so that's
they
what,
did
you know.
because they thought that God is like Karwa Chauth, and
Demigods
then, you know,
and all
yeah,
that.
the demigods. Yes. Now that's what I
So maybe, yeah. So, like, you know, I remember as a child, I've been told.
Yeah, I'm sure it's because of the demigods.
Yeah,
Because
but
the
even I
demigods.
have heard this. Even I've heard that you should be God
And if you,
fearing.
and if
But
you
then-
don't, you know, then God will punish you.
Yes.
Really?
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But there's so many people. I've heard this also. So many.
I have never heard specially for Krishna or Ram, but I've heard for Karwa
No,
Chauth
they're
story.
not specifically said like a Krishna, Ram, but just like, you know, God. Yeah.
Yes.
So God.
Yes.
But now see, we understand, right?
Yes.
God. God, yeah. The demigods, and there's a difference.
Yes.
Mm.
And also many of these demigod pujas, we have to see, is it really authentic or where is it coming from? What are we reading? What are we following? Is it just because it's a family tradition or a tradition of the community, or is it really authentic coming in some Veda?
Correct.
You know, we have to do that research because many of them are just made up.
So why is like Satnarayan Puja is actually worshipping of Vishnu, no?
Yes.
So why is it not considered?
Yeah, that's what, I don't know where is that coming from, you know? And
Like,
you see,
yeah, they don't know. Like, don't believe in
I'm sorry?
Satnarayan Puja. I've seen like the ISKCON
Yes.
thing. They don't believe in Satnarayan Puja.
Yeah, I don't know where is this story thing coming from, because when they say that the sages are assembled at Naimisharanya and they are asking the questions, that is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Right.
You know, because the sages, we had just heard Srimad Bhagavatam, the sages of Naimisharanya are there, and they're asking Shaunak Rishi, and then you know. So, but then we are hearing, and we never hear in Srimad Bhagavatam anything, all these things. So there's a lot of things we follow just because it's like a family tradition, or our parents and grandparents did it, and so we should do it. But where did it come from? How did it
start? All for material ones. That's why this puja is being done.
I'm sorry?
It's for material, you know.
Material gain. Yeah. But is this Satnarayan Katha coming from one part of the Veda or no? You know? Is it that this particular way of what they are saying? Because actually, it's Bhagavatam. All the sages were assembled to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is all auspicious. All auspicious. One word we hear from Bhagavatam, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, one word you hear from Bhagavatam, your life is, you know, become fortunate. You become so fortunate. So it's only when we don't understand about God, we have all these fears, and if I don't do this, this bad will happen. If I don't do that, this bad will happen. It's because we don't understand.
Right. Right.
And as you said, because the material desires are so much, and then we are like, oh my God, if I don't do it, but I really want this thing to happen, and it's not going to be happen. And if it will not happen, I'll be so unhappy.
Yeah.
The reason is because we want to be happy. You see, why we want the material desires to be fulfilled is because we feel if the desire is fulfilled,
If
then
this is
I
not
will
there.
be happy. And if it's not fulfilled, I will not be happy.
And I think because we don't trust Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
Listen,
we are
now it's
scared.
coming in my mind, like many things. Sometimes I feel rituals, really.
But
They
I have
don't
never
need
heard
to do.
Satyanarayan. Is it more prevalent in Sindhis?
It is, yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay. I've
Satnarayan,
never heard. I've just
Satnarayan
heard that.
Katha is
I have
done.
not heard anyone else, I've only heard.
Yeah, Satnarayan Katha
Oh
is done.
yeah, I've
So
never.
many, even I myself, I do.
I've heard Sundarkand. I've heard Sundarkand. Like we do Sundarkand, the Marwadis. We do Sundarkand. One of the Kands, one of the
Right,
12
yeah.
Kands from Ramayan. Only the
Ramayana.
Sundarkand where the Hanumanji go to Lanka and give the message of Sri Ram. So we recite only Sundarkand. If for the material desires.
Like,
So
see, for us, we do every month. That's
yeah,
what
so the Satnarayan Katha, I don't know, is that become like, how
Yeah.
somebody at some point of time changed something there? I don't know. Because it's
It's
Bhagavatam
like that
was supposed
family
to-
tradition, no? Like people have been doing so, we also follow. And we
Yeah,
do.
exactly. Oh, why do you do it? Because my parents did it. Why my parents did it? Because their parents did it. Why? What's happening? Why did it start? Where did it come from? What is it gonna give me?
And it says very clearly, like, you want done, you want family, you want this. So then you do this katha and everything will be, taken care.
Yeah.
So,
Bhagavatam says that. Bhagavatam says what Parikshit Maharaj said, that what is the way of perfection for all persons, and what is specifically a duty of one who's about to leave his body. So what is it? And so Sukadev Goswami says the highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life.
Yes, right.
And then he says that if somebody has all material desires, if they have no material desires, of their desired liberation, they should just simply hear Bhagavatam. Doesn't matter where we are coming from. We have too many material desires.
True. Like the Pitrapaksha also, it's going on. So best is listen, to Bhagavatam. That is the thing offering, in fact, you can give your ancestors.
Offer them that the results I will get by hearing Bhagavatam, I offer it to my departed ancestors.
My ancestors,
Yes. And chanting, can chant for them.
Correct.
That's the best thing. Can feed the Vaishnavas on their behalf, feed the devotees on their behalf. They'll get the best benefit by chanting for them, offering our devotional hearing Bhagavatam, feeding the Vaishnavas. That's the best thing. So,
and even feeding the cow, they say very specifically, cow.
Cow puja is Krishna likes. Krishna loves cows.
That's what.
But then, are we doing it in a ritualistic way that we have to see, Or are we actually, or what are we doing? Are we really taking care of the cow? Or are we just going sometime, to gain something? You know what I mean?
No, but like, see now, like it's Pitra, no? Shraddha.
Yeah.
So we should go. I feel, if we can make once, together, we can do it in this 16 days.
Oh yeah, you mean to go to
Gaushala?
Yeah, so good. Yes. That's very good. I remember Nitai Prabhu, when he was in Taiwan, he used to organize for us to go to the to where NTU University or somewhere where they had some cows, and we would go do Go Puja there.
Yeah, I have been with him. Yes.
Yeah, he would organize that.
Once,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Very long time ago.
Yeah, same here. Right.
Very long.
And I still remember that when we went, when we were feeding, the cows were dancing.
That's
Somehow, what happened, I don't know, suddenly that day on the Govardhan.
yeah, I think Rajalakshmi Mataji also once she put, na?
Yeah.
You were dance. Oh, you were there that time, huh?
Yeah, I was there that time, yeah.
Can we go?
I can ask, but now with COVID going on, I don't know.
They
what's
won't
the
allow?
situation. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what's the situation. But
If you can find out.
Yeah.
And if not in these 16 days, if not possible, we can try. Then otherwise, we can go in Kartik. That is also a very auspicious month.
Govardhan time. Yeah, we
Right.
can do that.
Yeah, we can try in this, but if not possible, then maybe
Yeah. That's
Kartik
what
month.
so,
Yeah.
mm.
In all of the Chaturmas, we can go once, like any time in Chaturmas.
Right.
So that's what. So the more we try to hear about Krishna, to that degree our fear gets less.
Yeah. No. That's what as a king, I think we should not put that. Like for me, I have no grandkids and all. So
Yeah.
I will be like, careful not to ever put that thing.
Yeah.
You know, you can, I was just hearing Amrendra Prabhu yesterday, and he mentioned a very, very beautiful thing, that the millions of mother love, like we know that how much a mother loves a child. We all know that, right?
Mhm.
Her love is the most pure and more devotional in the material world for us, for a jiva. So if we put the millions of mothers' love together, only the 1 second of love of Radha and Krishna is more than that. Just imagine. We have not one mother, like your and my love for our children. We think that it's unconditional, we can do anything.
No,
but
it's
if we
not.
put the millions of mothers' love together, that is also nothing in front of the Krishna's just 1 minute Radha Krishna's love for us, for Jiva. That is the amount of love they do us. And we always have to be sure and have faith that whatever Krishna is doing is good for me, whatever, no matter what. Because when we go in a flight, have we seen the pilot? No, we have never seen the pilot in the flight. But we go and we sit there, and when the turbulence is there, then we are still sitting there with the confidence that, yeah, the pilot will take care. And when do we see the pilot? When we leave the plane. So we have to trust Krishna. All these small turbulences are just the things that's happening to us, but the Krishna is there. And we have to have faith that Krishna will do everything for our good. He can never do anything wrong for us. Never, ever, ever.
Trust.
He's the command. He has the command of our ship, of our life. He has the command of our life. So we don't have to worry. Everything that is happening is Krishna's will, and Krishna will never do anything harmful for us. That's it.
Jai. So we can stop on that note for today.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Pad ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining in today morning.